Good morning, this is Pastor Doug, and I'm thankful for a lot of things today. I'm thankful for the beautiful wooded areas that we have in New Hampshire, and a lot of people enjoy outdoor recreation. And also, one of the things I'm thankful for is I'm thankful that I have a home and I don't have to be outside all the time. Because in New Hampshire, there's people living outside. There's people living in tents in the winter. There's people that make shelters out of 2x4s covered with tarps, and in other ways put together shelters that I don't think are adequate. And a lot of people have been asking me why people choose to live that way, because there are shelters. Of course, there's not always space in shelters, but there's special exceptions often made when there's Arctic temperatures so that people don't freeze to death, but still not everyone takes advantage of that. And why is that? Well, I've worked helping homeless people since the 1990s. I volunteered at a homeless shelter, and I've helped people through different churches and Christian ministries. And there's a lot of different reasons why people are poor and a lot of reasons why people are homeless. And one of the common reasons is addiction. Not everyone who's homeless is addicted. And that's why they might not want to go to the homeless shelters. If someone was addicted and now they're not using, they might not want to go to a shelter because they might be tempted to use again. And none of this is meant to be negative toward homeless shelters or people who work at homeless shelters, but it's just a fact of life. At homeless shelters, there's usually a lot of addiction. I mean, there's rules at the shelters. The rules are that they don't let people use there, but it's tough to regulate, and someone can use outside and maybe come in still under the effects of it. And someone who's had a problem with that in the past might not be around that because they don't want to go back to that way of life. And then closely associated with addiction is crime, particularly violence, assault, even murder, theft, and people might not want to be around that if they don't have to be. So there's some people that never go to shelters. There's other people that only go there in dire emergencies, like if the weather's going to be well below zero, or if they had some sort of tent or shelter somewhere and the authorities made them leave and they just have nothing, and they're thinking, with nothing on the street, I'm going to freeze to death. So until they find some other place to hunker down in, they might go to a shelter for a night or two. And other than that, they're outside. So addiction is one of the reasons, or fear of the crime at the shelters. And another big reason, particularly in New Hampshire, this is a New Hampshire problem. I love New Hampshire, but we have our problems too. And in New Hampshire, there's been a big cutback of funding to mental hospitals. And people who in the past would have been institutionalized have instead been released, and they're on the street. And people might be paranoid or have other mental problems, and they isolate. And that's why in weather like this, it's around 20 degrees, it's snowing, and I can go back home. It's a short hike to my van. I can go home. And other people, they don't have a home. They're living under a tarp. And often the issue is that they have some sort of mental illness. And it could either be they isolate because they're paranoid, or it could be that they know that they're having symptoms and they're afraid that they will be institutionalized. So there's a lot of different reasons, and I've just touched on a few. But there are a lot of different reasons why right now in Rochester and all over New Hampshire there's people that are living outside in this. And there's no easy answer that I'm aware of. There are a lot of people trying to help them. But I'm just making this video. I'm hoping that to raise some awareness that all of us that have homes should be thankful, and what can we do for the less fortunate. God bless.